I think the next person in line to ask questions is Senator Cramer. Senator Cramer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for having this hearing.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator, for being here. I'm going to start with, it might not surprise you, I've repeatedly raised concerns over the legality and impracticality of the, and nature really of the FHWA's greenhouse gas emissions rule over this past couple of years. And since the last time you were before us, not one but two federal courts have agreed and said that this was an unlawful rule. Following those two rulings, the United States Senate passed my Congressional Review Act resolution with 53 votes, which means, you know, it was bipartisan, a resolution supporting that position. And yet, I see that that you all have appealed the decision of the courts and are continue to pursue this unlawful rule as though you have a license to do something that that Congress has not given you. What's the point of wasting taxpayer dollars and time and resources on a rule that's so clearly illegal?
Thank you, Senator, and you have been very consistent in your statements on this, and I would say that I would like to share that consistency on my side. I have always said that we will comply with the law. When the courts reached their decision, we told states that we would not be you know, requiring them to meet the schedule because of the legal decisions that have been made. I'm going to defer to DOJ. They are the ones who are, you know, in charge of appeals and other things, and we'll just continue to follow the law.
You know, since you brought that up, you know, defer to the DOJ, which I know you have to do. That's another whole frustration of mine, is that the client of the Department of Justice no longer has any authority over the Department of Justice's decisions on your own behalf. That's Congress did that back in the, I think, 60s, and it was one of the great mistakes that we should correct someday, because I have found it very frustrating. Well, I can't wait for the Chevron doctrine to be overturned, along with, and grateful to the court in West Virginia versus EPA using the major questions doctrine, which I believe this is a violation of, by the way. And in fact, anyway, so the idea that you now, as the quote client of this law firm called the Department of Justice, but have nothing to say about an appeal is disgusting to me. And we should break that up. At any rate, given the fact that the Supreme Court has issued rulings previously that are not dissimilar to this, using the major questions doctrine, at what point does an agency just follow all of that precedent rather than trying to make it up as it goes in violation of what is so clear, I think, to most people?
So, Senator, I'm not trying to be evasive.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
It's probably, yeah, it's a tough one for you to answer. I get it. I'm just saying, you don't get to make stuff up and issue the rule and then wait for the Supreme Court of the United States or some other appeal process to finish off before you say, okay, well, we'll go by the law again now. The law, to me, was crystal clear, is crystal clear, as it, by the way, was the intent of Congress in the CRA. Anyway, all of that said, I want to move on to my other favorite topic that you and I have been consistent about, and that's, of course, formula funding and the importance of it. It was my highest priority in the bipartisan infrastructure bill. I was grateful for the 90-10 formula funding formula. But I've been hearing, and I'm going to ask you to verify whether this is true or not, but I've been hearing that on the grant side, the discretionary side, money has not been going out very fast, that in fact it could be even manipulating or confusing the formula a little bit. So I want you to either verify or deny that that's the case, and just maybe advocate for moving more money out of discretionary into formula if in fact there's a problem. Because one thing about the states, they get their money out really, really fast, as you know. You've done it a couple of times yourself. Anyway, first of all, is that a correct assumption that I'm making about the grant funding, or is my information not accurate? And second of all, what do you think about putting more of it in formula?
Senator, thank you for that question. And I believe the states have done a great job of getting formula dollars obligated and out the door, and the chairman talked about all the great projects that are out there. Project delivery, and I'm less interested in giving out money. I'm more interested in delivering projects. And so we have about 2,250 discretionary grant agreements that we are working on from money that we've awarded, and about 50% of those now, which is greatly up from when I started, have now signed grant agreements. So we want to turn all of these projects into successful ribbon cuttings, and I commit to continuing to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cramer.